What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, before I get into the video, I want to remind you guys, as always, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to Too Raw for TV, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. I'd like to thank all of the new subscribers that have come on board to our channel as of late. If you're watching this video and you haven't hit that notification button, please hit that notification button so that you'll be notified of any and every video that drops on my channel as soon as it does, even though it still doesn't work with YouTube. With notifications. And also, if you like or at least appreciate the content on my channel, please hit that like button. That'll help not only my channel, but other channels in the Lions Den basketball community be that much better. If you want to show love for Too Raw for TV, if you can, if you choose to, you can do so in the links provided in the description box below via the PayPal or the Cash App. And also, if you support Too Raw for TV, um, might want to come over to the Patreon, especially now because YouTube has made some changes to their policy where they can take down channels at any given time. And there's a possibility that a channel like mine may be terminated soon. So if you support Too Raw for TV, please come over to the Patreon. I will be making some content over there this weekend for only $2 per month. Now, to this game, the Clippers and the Rockets. And this was a rematch from a game that just happened. I think it was last week, where James Harden scored 47 points, and he pretty much abused Kawhi Leonard. At least that's what the talking point is, and they came away with the win against the Clippers. So Kawhi haters, Clippers haters, LeBron fans, Kawhi haters uh, were just foaming at the mouth an opportunity for James Harden to light up the Clippers and Kawhi yet again, as if Kawhi is the only player on the team. I put in the community chat that James Harden would not score 47 points tonight because I knew that the Clippers would make a concerted effort to slow down the Harden assault. And he didn't. He still had a great game offensively. He scored 37 points. But they made a more conscious effort to slow him down via more coverage. And his shot attempts shows this. He shot actually a good percentage. He made 9 out of 16 shot attempts. Um, I think he got almost half of his damn points from the free throw line. I think he shot like 14 or 16 from the line. So 14 of his 37 points came from the free throw line. If he wasn't getting so many foul calls, he would have only had maybe like 25 points or something like that. This guy's points totals are really inflated. But he got close to his average, so he's satisfied with that, but he wanted more. He's like a glutton for points, man. He's like the wimpy of points. You know what I'm saying? He can't get enough points. Um, the Rockets blew this game down the stretch with bad execution and bad decision making. James Harden missed uh, a free throw, which would have been a 4-point play. Clint Capella missed some relatively easy shots down low. And Russell Westbrook took an ill-advised three-point attempt that looked off as soon as it released from his hands down the stretch. I don't understand for the life of me why Russell Westbrook continues to take so many threes. I don't understand it. This is one of the things that used to infuriate me about Antoine Walker. Antoine Walker used to lead the NBA in three-point attempts, even though he shot. He had a couple of seasons where he shot 34, 35% from three. He had one or two seasons, I remember when he shot like 28, 29% from three. So this is a guy that was not a marksman, but yet he shot the three like he was a marksman. And that used to infuriate me with Antoine Walker. And now you see this with Russell Westbrook. Um, I don't understand a guy who shoots 25, 28% from three. Why do you take so many threes? It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I root for Russ because I admire the way that he plays. I admire the way that he plays. Um, you can debate whether or not his numbers are inflated, which to an extent they probably were. But I just didn't like the constant hate and the narrative of the media. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that they were constantly hit on Westbrook. But for some reason, James Harden and some other guys got effusive praise for stat padding. So, but at the end of the day, these guys show you who they are. And the Houston Rockets are a team that's not going to win a championship. And I'm convinced that they're not going to get out of the second round. I mean, if you can't see that now, then you're extremely myopic. They're not getting out of the second round of playoffs. And they might fuck around and lose in the first round. I don't think it's going to happen, but they're not getting out of the second round. Meaning that they're either going to lose to the Clippers or the Lakers in the second round, in my opinion. I mean, you got two volume scorers leading the way. No, no. And James Harden has got the green light of green lights this year, even more so than last year. You know what I'm saying? They can beat the mediocre teams. They can beat those teams. But consistently, when they're playing up against the best teams, you see the flaws. And if you look at James Harden's stats, if you look at the Rockets' schedule so far, they played a lot of bad teams. Um, I've looked at it. They played a lot of mediocre or bad teams. And James Harden is putting up like 38 points a game. His shooting percentage has risen too. He's pretty much where his normal numbers are. But when they play against teams like the Clippers and the Bucks, remember they haven't played. I don't think they've played the Lakers yet. They got to play the Bucks again. They haven't played Philly, I don't believe. You know what I'm saying? They haven't played a lot of the better teams yet. When they play against those teams, James Harden generally chokes. He generally chokes. And that's when you see the difference between the Rockets and the other teams and the upper echelon teams. We saw James Harden talk all that shit during the offseason about why he should have won the MVP. And opening night, you're against the Milwaukee Bucks. You're against the guy who took the award from you, and you lay an egg. And meanwhile, while the media is on and on over James Harden points totals, Giannis has improved in every major statistical category from last year. Last year when he won the MVP, he averaged 27.7 points, I think 12.5 rebounds and 5.9 assists per game. This year, with Giannis having to carry an extra load, without Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon is gone. And right now, Milwaukee's going through the toughest part of their schedule. Their schedule is the toughest now, and it gets easier later on. Right now, Giannis is a leading candidate. Him, in my opinion, and Luka Doncic are the leading MVP candidates. But right now, Giannis is averaging 30.1 points, 14.1 rebounds, 6.6 assists, I think like 1.5 steals, 1.4 blocks, on 57% shooting from the floor. And I think the Bucks are like 12-3 or 13-3 or something like that. But everybody talks about James Harden. And let me say something else about James Harden before I switch to Kawhi Leonard. James Harden was crying last night about, or it might have been early this morning. Don't know when these remarks were made, but he was whining about being double teamed. He said, he basically was saying like, when did you see a guy get this much coverage? When the last time you seen a guy get this much coverage, get this much attention? And I'm looking at James Harden, and I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Well, James Harden, what did you think was going to happen when you keep putting up these types of numbers? Did you not see Kobe in 2005, 2006? I mean, yeah, when you look at highlights and he played maybe against a bad team, like when he had 81 points, yeah, it was single coverage. Sometimes, for whatever reason, Lenny Wilkins, when they played the Bulls, for some reason, Lenny Wilkins almost chose to use single coverage against Jordan. And that's why he had so many unbelievable nights against the Cavaliers. That's why some of the great scorers, when they play against certain teams, which for whatever reason refused to double, had some of their better offensive performances. Bernard King, George Gervin. That's what when a guy gets that type of single coverage and you're a great scorer, yeah, of course you should get the green light. Charles Barkley talked about how, what was it, against the Golden State Warriors in 1994 when he was with the Phoenix Suns, the first couple of games they kept doubling him. And he had a triple-double one game, and the next game he almost had another triple-double. So Don Nelson told him, you know what, we're not going to double you this tonight. He's like, what? Yeah, you can get as many as you want. Okay. That's when he went off for 56 points. The thing is, James Harden, this is how I know you're not really a complete basketball player and that you play for stats. If you're getting this now, you're going to start getting this attention, you're getting doubled and triple teamed at times. Well, guess what? That means there's going to be guys on your team that are open. Take advantage of that. But because you're such a selfish player and it's all about you scoring points, that's the only thing you care about is your average. I remember listening to all these great scorers, and you guys saw, you said, they were, and the reporters would be like, blah, 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 blah. You've seen a lot of double team coverage tonight. How'd you guys adjust to that? Well, in the first half, and I was seeing the double and sometimes triple teams, that means that I had to step back and look out for the open man. And after that, the coverage kind of went away because they had to start showing attention to the other guys, and that's when I had to be able to do what I could do best. Utilize your passing. Get other guys involved in the game. Then when these other guys start making shots, they can't keep doubling you. Then they have to start covering these other guys. That opens up the game for you. But because you really only pass to pad your numbers. You don't pad. I'm thoroughly convinced that James Harden wants to win, but he cares more about his numbers than winning. I'm convinced of that by comments that he makes in the media, on Twitter, and just his overall play. Wilt Chamberlain was constantly doubled and triple teamed throughout his years in basketball. Constantly. There was something called mauling back when Wilt played. And Wilt still was able to average 37.6, 38.4, 50.4, 44.8, 36.9, 34.7, and then 33.5 as he was transitioning to being more of a balanced player throughout his years leading the league in scoring. Will had to constantly make adjustments. Also, James Harden, it would thoroughly help your game if you want to be a great scorer while seeing these double teams to learn how to play off the ball. Now, Going to Kawhi Leonard, this dude is a beast. All right. See, unlike James Harden, he doesn't have to just put up 40 points to be effective. If you look at the stat line and you see James Harden had 37, and if you see Kawhi had 18, you'll be like, oh man, Kawhi had a bad game. But see, Kawhi is the type of guy, he can affect the game by scoring only 16, 18 points. Because he makes timely shots. And he can dominate a game in crunch time. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, the first 40, Isaiah Thomas talked about this, the first 45, 46 minutes of the game is part of the game. Don't get me wrong, it's important. But if you're playing a back and forth game, it's those last 2 or 3 minutes that establishes a championship team from a good team and separates, I should say, a championship team from a good team. And what you saw last night with the Houston Rockets, when James Harden wasn't bailed out by free throws, when his tricks didn't work, they imploded. And you saw with the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, this guy's so patient, man. Most guys in those situations, they tend to rush. They tend to, it's like they gotta hurry up and do something. Oh, time's running, I gotta hurry up. Kawhi Leonard's not built like that. He's like a really lethal, methodical. He's like, people call him the Terminator, but he's actually more. He's more like what's the other guy, man? Uh, 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 um, what's the other dude, man? Is it the Punisher? Uh, I can't think of his name right now, man. The character that Denzel Washington played. But anyway, that's more like Kawhi Leonard, man. You know, like he sees things in slow motion. The Equalizer. He's more like the Equalizer, man. You know what I'm saying? He sees things in slow motion and out there on the court, and he's like just a quiet, methodical, uh, brilliant assassin out there on the court, man. And that's why the Clippers, to me, despite their record, are probably the best team in the NBA. You know? But that's it, man. That's pretty much all I got to say, man. Tell me what you guys think.